Have you ever felt like you were born to stand out, but instead, all you've done is stand alone? You're not crazy, and you're definitely not cursed. You might just be a chosen one, set apart, handpicked by God for a purpose far bigger than you imagine. But here's the twist. Being chosen doesn't always come with a crowd. In fact, it often comes with isolation. Stick with me, because reason number 4 may finally explain why your loneliness was never a coincidence. You're surrounded by people, but feel disconnected. You try to explain your thoughts and values, but most don't get it. The things you care about, they call too deep. The way you love, they call too intense. And your silence? They mistake it for weakness. You've asked God, why am I always the one left out? But here's the truth. Chosen ones often walk alone. Not because they're broken, but because they're being built. You've tried to fit in. You've adjusted your light to match dim rooms. But still, relationships fall apart. People ghost you, and connections feel forced. It feels unfair. It feels confusing. But what if this isn't rejection? What if this is redirection? What if your isolation is your invitation into purpose? Reason number 1, isolation is God's classroom. God doesn't teach his chosen ones in crowded rooms. He teaches them in caves, in deserts, in quiet spaces. Moses was alone for 40 years before leading a nation. David was alone tending sheep before he became king. Jesus went to the wilderness before starting his ministry. Why? Because there are some lessons you can only learn in the silence. Some strength you can only gain in solitude. God pulls you away to pour into you. So if you're walking alone, you're in the right classroom. Reason number 2, God is protecting you from distractions. As a chosen one, your sensitivity is a gift and a risk. You absorb energy. You carry burdens. You feel deeply. So God often removes people, jobs, even opportunities, not to punish you, but to protect your focus. He knows, if I don't separate you, you'll settle. If I don't isolate you, you'll imitate. Your calling requires clarity, not chaos. When God makes you walk alone, he's fine-tuning your ears to hear him, and him alone. Reason number 3, to develop deep intimacy with God. Chosen ones aren't called to religion, they're called to relationship. That kind of closeness isn't built in noise. It's built in stillness. When no one else is around to validate you, you learn to seek validation in God's voice. When you can't depend on people, you start depending on him. And that, my friend, is where the power lies. You start realizing, if all I have is God, then I have enough. Reason number 4, God is refining your character for a greater assignment. Everyone wants elevation, but few are willing to endure the refining. Walking alone reveals what still needs healing: your pride, your impatience, your need for approval. God isolates you to fix what's broken before it breaks your destiny. He's not just preparing you to shine. He's preparing you to carry the weight of your calling. So if people left, let them. Their absence is making space for your alignment. Reason number 5, being set apart is part of the assignment. Set apart isn't poetic. It's painful, but it's necessary. God can't use a person who's addicted to being accepted. He needs people who are okay with being misunderstood, mocked, and even left behind, because they refuse to bend to culture. Chosen ones carry the oil, but oil requires crushing. That crushing, the loneliness, the loss, the silence, it's the cost of the anointing. You don't walk alone because you're unworthy. You walk alone because your path is holy. So what do you do now? You lean in, pray more, create more, reflect more, prepare more. This season isn't empty. It's sacred. Use this time to build what the crowd would only distract you from. Your solitude is where your spiritual identity becomes unshakable. Remember that question at the start? Why am I always the one left out? Here's your answer. You're not left out. You've been set apart. You're not abandoned. You're being anointed. You're not forgotten. You're being forged in the quiet to roar in the open. And when your season of aloneness ends, you won't just fit in, you'll lead. Please like, comment. I embrace my divine isolation. Subscribe for more spiritual truths crafted just for chosen ones. Because this path isn't for everyone, but it is for you.